Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, Raid have recently come out and said they are going to change Hydra. They're listening to some of the news, and the news is Hydra has sucked since it came out, mainly because of the crazy RNG and the stupid kind of like steep curve into insanity. So this video, I'm going to talk about how I would change Hydra. I hope they listen to some of these ideas, because basically, we need a Hydra clan boss, which is what it was meant to be. This new exciting feature that the community could kind of jump on, instead of this feature that's like, ah, damn, I need to do my Hydra this week. Anyway, let's get into my ideas and let's see if some of these are going to come through when they make these changes. Okay, so as we get into this video, the first thing I want to call out here is, why is the kind of standard clan boss so good? And it really is so good. It's such good content that they've kind of pulled into this game. So I think it scales well. Yeah, as a free-to-player, in the first day, first week, I can be hitting the easy clan boss and be getting some rewards. Okay, and then as you are challenged throughout the game, as you start to build your roster, you move through it pretty well. Like, I'm hitting brutal now on the free-to-play, and I'm like 80, 90 days in. Yeah, and if I was a bit lucky with champion pools, I could already be hitting nightmare. And that's for someone who knows how to play the game. And then as you get further on, you kind of build your nightmare, ultra nightmare team, and you're able to get very nice rewards on a daily basis. So you've got a few things: scales well, decent challenge, builds over time, and then good rewards. 4 things I'd say are kind of like fundamental around what's good about this kind of version of clan boss. So if we kind of try and, I was hoping for a bit of a juicier reward, honestly. But if we try like back to Hydra. Now, what's going on with Hydra? It scales like atrociously for me. And I'll show you this actually on the free-to-play account. So on my free-to-play account here, I'm in a clan that kind of beats up Brutal. And some of these guys are starting to touch on Nightmare. It's a random clan. Don't know the guys very well. But I just kind of jumped in with somebody that I did know. And if you can see here, so in the clan so far this week, with a couple of days to go, 4 people have hit Hydra. This guy at the top, he's used all his keys, got nearly 4 million damage. So he's going to get a novice chest. Yeah, and then basically the other 2 at the bottom there are not getting anything so far. So 2 people out of a clan of 30 currently getting any sort of Hydra reward. And I'm on the free to play, so I'm not on a really established account, but I'm still 95 days into the game. I can still do actually anything else in the game in terms of progress to some level. But with Hydra, if I jump in with my best team, just pull out my top 6 champions that I can use. Basically, people that have got gear on that are leveled. That's pretty much what we're going for. He does not a lot here, although it's not terrible, to be fair. But yeah, I'd rather have this. So 6 people, 3 have got full masteries. 1 is kind of working on masteries, and then the other 2 have got very few masteries. Now, I don't have like big HP burners, so that's just not an option for me. And, you know, I don't have a load of the mechanics that I want, so they're not an option for me either. And we come straight in, and basically every time I hit from pretty much from the offset, I'm going to be feared up. Yeah. Look, I know I'm hitting auto here, and I'm doing this to show a point. 1 smack, 2 smacks. This is my best. This is the best champions that I've got on the free to play. I'm hitting normal, which is the easiest level of Hydra that there is. Okay. It's really like an obscene entry into this mode. And I've got good champions here, by the way. It's not like I've got crap champions. These are decent enough that they should be able to get me somewhere, you know, with decent builds when I'm coming in close to 100 days into the game. We're going to get smacked here in less than a minute for 380,000 damage. Now, the problem is, you might be like, well, that's not too bad. You know, you've got yourself close to the next dude. Okay, well, if I then throw in my next 6 champions, which are as good as I get, because don't forget, we've got to use 18 champions here. We've got 18 champions to use. So you're like, fine, a few 300,000, you'll get a little bit of reward. The trouble is, we now come down a huge amount in terms of power within my team, because my next 6 champions, like none of them are 60s. They're all in gear. They've all got gear on, by the way, but you know, they're all going to struggle. And yeah, so the scaling from the outset is just way too high. There needs to be either an easy mode, which is kind of more like for this level of an account. So and it doesn't need to have Mithrala fragments. It just needs to be something that people can start to sink their teeth into and start to understand. And I'll go through my ideas on that in just a second. But again, you can see here, it's going to be probably about the same length of fight, I reckon. But this time, my damage has been cut to, what, 60? Are we going to manage a little bit more? No, 66,000 damage. And I'm 100 days into this account. So look, the scaling is awful. There needs to be an easy mode, which is an entry mode. Let me talk about how it should scale. Easy mode, maybe 2 heads, and if you kill one, it respawns the same thing every time. You know exactly what you're dealing with every rotation that pops up, and it's like an entry to Hydra. You then get into normal mode, and look, I don't even mind that they've got these 4 heads. I feel like the damage and the stats need to scale back for normal mode, and I feel like the heads should always be the same when they repop. Hard mode, keep the damage and stuff like that the same as it is now. Heads, just repop as they are. Brutal mode, you start to get into the RNG of heads, but maybe like the 75% chance of the same head instead of, I think it gets to like 50 at this point. Nightmare, probably just leave Nightmare as is. Like once you get onto Nightmare, then, you know, it becomes more acceptable to have to deal with all of the RNG and stuff like that. But the main things for me are damage that comes into you, understanding what heads are going to pop, and some sort of scalability. So that's like one kind of big setup of it. Now the other thing which I think needs to change here is some of the effects that some of these heads actually do. And again, I think like because we're dealing with a boss which scales in difficulty, maybe the scaling should change as we go. So let's take head by head. Head of Decay, probably the head I hate the most, honestly. And it's pretty much, I think it's in every rotation from the off, maybe except one. So if you're fighting easy normal mode, then it's not a cleanse on all heads. Yeah? And maybe there's no turn meter fill. Maybe it's a cleanse on 2 of the heads at random. And it scales up as you scale up your fight until you get to Nightmare, and it's this horrid cleanse. Yeah, so I just feel like it's too much too soon. All of these heads is pretty much the same. It's too much too soon. If we go for Head of Torment, oh, disgusting head for most people. If you do not have Shamal, Duchess, maybe Rector, maybe Tatora, one of those 4, then this becomes a real nightmare head to face. Basically, it controls your whole team. And when True Fear is out there, you lose your abilities if you try and do them. So at the very least, he shouldn't be putting True Fear on us. He should be putting Fear on us. That's like a no-brainer for me. Don't True Fear me, please. Do not True Fear me. That's ridiculous. And don't make it irresistible if you're going to make it True Fear. It's got to be one or the other. It's either like a fear and it's still annoying, or it could be resisted. It's got to be one or the other of those. And the other thing I think here is it just shouldn't be 100%. Like, there's no way it should be 100% it's going to land a True Fear on you. So I think reduce it to maybe a 50-50. Reduce it from True Fear to Fear, or make it resistible. Let's talk about Mischief then. Mischief, I think, is actually kind of quite a fun head, actually. Stealing buffs from someone. You can resist that buff steal. You can kind of control where it's going to a certain degree. I think this head is pretty well balanced and actually a bit of fun. Head of Wrath. Again, I don't feel like this one's too badly done, actually. It is a nuke. And maybe earlier levels scale back the damage a bit. But the actual like abilities and stuff, I think are fine. I think maybe just as you scale through, the attack numbers of this dude just need to be a bit less. The Head of Suffering. Again, I don't feel like this one's too bad. And in fact, I would just leave it. I don't feel like there's any issue with this one. And you notice you don't get these kind of not too bad ones all in the same rotation. You normally get at least 3 of the absolute terrors. Head of Blight, also don't really mind it. I kind of like the Poison Cloud thing. The only challenge you've got here is you can't always have a burner. I wish that you could burn through the cloud with any burner. That's what I wish. So, and again, maybe it should be a scaling thing, but like the people that need to hit to burn, I don't feel like that should be possible to do a weak hit and not burn through the cloud. As any burn should burn off the cloud, in my opinion. And then you've got a lot more champions that could come in and do a good job here. So I think if we had scalable entry into the fights, I think if we had almost like a getting to know the mechanics type of easy mode, then normal mode, and then it gets harder, I think that would work. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the rewards. The rewards are pretty trash. Okay, you've got 2 sets which are totally PvP focused. If you're not that fussed about PvP, then the sets mean very little to you, which means that only the very elite endgame plat players really care about all of this stuff. It will kind of bleed into other teams, but honestly, it's not the thing that matters the most for me. Clan Gold is actually good, and the Clan Shop is actually good now, and the Clan XP is fine. Mithrala, good champion. I like that she's available to grab. I don't mind if they dropped an easy mode in without a Mithrala. I honestly wouldn't mind if they had easy and normal, which gave you fragments to a good epic. Yeah, a good epic champion. And also, once you obtained those champions, I really would like it if they replaced it with someone else, or they replaced it with a universal fragment collector reward, which could go into some of the old fusion champions. Honestly, that's the way forward, Raid. If you're listening to this video, you're probably not. If you are, that is the way forward. You know, it's just universal fragment collectors. You've got so many of these past fusions now, it's gone out of control. I don't feel like you really understand what's going on here. The game's gone a bit out of control. So let people take control back and get some of those old, cool fragment collector kind of champions from this stuff. But elephant in the room is lacking other juicy rewards. A bit like the Forge Pass, yeah? Where are the things which are sexy to players that play this game? Where are my shards? Where are my books? Yeah, they're the 2 things, really. That's kind of what people want. Yeah, maybe a few gems, whatever. But the main thing is there should be, as you scale up here in different challenges, it should be the chance to drop shards and books. It's what people want in this game. I did a poll. Would you rather have 1 void shard or I think it was like 4,000 gems or something silly? People are choosing the void shard. People want to gamble their way through and collect fun champions. It's a champion collector game. Give people more incentive to do this. It's the same with the arena, honestly. You just need to rethink some of the rewards and make it a bit sexier for people to want to get involved. So massive elephant in the room is rewards for doing this stuff. So when you've got scaling, you've got more champions feasible of fighting heads if we reduce some of the abilities that they do. We've got rewards that we actually want to go for. All of a sudden, we start to get a game mode which makes some sense. So the worst thing for me, which I guess I've kind of covered in a way, but I will take it as a separate topic here, is just RNG. Okay, so the RNG of this fight is very frustrating. And look, we get 3 keys a week, and it kind of comes back to, do you care enough to do them? Do you want to do them? And even on my main account, I find it more enjoyable now than I did initially, but I still get to the point where, like I have this week, I literally just hit auto. I didn't have a lot of time, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to hit auto and get a couple of keys away because I want to make sure I get some rewards, and then I'll probably have a proper turn at hard. But I had one proper punt at hard, and I was like 25 minutes into the fight, fully manual, and then I had a bad spell of RNG. The fight wiped, and I was like, do I have another 25 minutes in me right now? Can I bring myself to do it for another 25 mins? And I was like, no. And I ended up throwing 2 half-arsed keys at normal in frustration because I couldn't be bothered to come back to it. So look, That's my take on Hydra. I really hope that the changes that are due, like, tackle some of those things properly. Not one of these real wet fixes that they do. I hope it's like a proper deep dive fix where they try and root out some of the real issues with this game mode. And then, you know what? We then have a second clan boss, which is super fun to do. And that's what we need. We needed new content. We've had stuff throughout last year, and a lot, to be fair. This has been a bit of a letdown. So, Raid, please do some of these things. Guys, comment below. What did I miss? What do you disagree with, or what do you agree with around what I've said? I've been Hell Hades. I will see you later.